Well, I'm on my way to the Workhouse castle to go fossil and shell hunting, etc. And I saw this building on the way there, and I wanted to go ahead and quickly document this to further support that the KCMO area in Independence was heavily built out with this material. Just going to do a quick documentation of this one. Hopefully this is coming through with the lighting. And yes, my car is still running, so I can't go too far from my car. Just speckled, broke up marine biology as expected. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. I just want to record the actual infrastructure itself. Real quick and dirty. Just to further support what I've been saying about the limestone city of KCMO and Independence. And there's more of these sprinkled all through this area as well, I found on Google Earth. This is just one I happen to be passing, which I actually forgot was even here. But now I'm going to quickly document this one because now I'm here to do so. This is a rather substantial infrastructure, architecture here. But I'm not trying to spend too much time here because my goal is to go to the castle workhouse, the KC workhouse. So like I said, I'm going to do this recording quick and dirty. And infrastructures like this, or architectures like this, is why I come to the conclusion that these areas were heavily built out with this material. And this is just an aesthetic choice. I almost think they left these out here so they can stand on the side of these when they worked on these, these architectures, possibly. And of course, just a bunch of little broke up marine biology. I'm not here to document that. It's obvious what this material is. And it just goes, but this is about all I'm going to get of this because, yeah, I just wanted to quickly document and show my evidence as to why I come to the conclusions I have with the limestone cities. The limestone cities. This was a very prevalent architectural style of this area. I could speak for this area at least. So this is a fascinating structure that is still standing and being used today. But let's go ahead and get back to my car and go up to where I need to be going. But I'll just go ahead and document this until I get to my car. Let's get this other side real quick. Here you got your fossil ferrous limestone with the shell sticking out. No, it's not this anomalous fucking rock. It's a shell. There's another shell sticking out. This is a real nice fossil ferrous piece. Got all the little fossils in there and other things. crystals, bones, fossils, all the ingredients for piezoelectric. Park department? Okay, sure. But there's this architecture. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pause this and be done with this spot. By golly, wouldn't you know it, I found another one on the way to the Workhouse Castle. Seems like a very prevalent theme in this area. Haven't got to the Workhouse Castle yet, and I'm already finding all these infrastructure still standing. Must have been a very poor choice to choose this material. Doesn't make sense. But no, these are everywhere and they're still standing for a, you know, what we could say to be hundreds of years, still here. Minus this newer stucco crap they put on this. Sorry for that, I had to pause that. As usual, loud ass vehicles are driving by. So I'm here to document the limestone, not this modern crap that was probably added to it. Let's get this one real quick and dirty like the last one. Well, can't see much there, the trees are blocking it. Got some of the basement windows there. It's really nice to see that some of these buildings did survive and are still here. Now this could have been added later, this little piece here I got in focus right now, because they still do use limestone on rare occasions, used way less now, but I'd say most of the structure is original. So yeah, that's this spot real quick, so I'm gonna go ahead and pause this here. Just real quick, there's some more right over here. And that's that. Yeah, just that. I'm just gonna go ahead and start recording here, as I don't have to walk back to this one or keep stopping, getting out of my car. We got more limestone. Off the workhouse I go, boys and girls. Woo! Let's go ahead and do a little drive down to this spot. And of course, we have more infrastructure over here. Sorry for my seatbelt alarm. One second. God, that's annoying. I apologize. We've got this structure here. We got the ones off over here. Very common theme out here. Oh, come on, people. We got this structure here. I'll document this better, and I'll go document those ones better, but my focus is the actual workhouse. Which I'm gonna have fun picking this fucking place apart. And yes, I parked my car down in here. I don't give a fuck. Last time I was here, I parked my car in here as well. Oh, boys and girls, here I am. I'm gonna have fun destroying this fucking place. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause this and then get to destroying this place. Looking for shells and fossils. And I'm just gonna go on ahead and say it now. It's a hot SOB out here right now, so I'll probably have to stop and take breaks so my phone don't melt down. But as Ross already covered and covered well, this place has so much spray paint and crap smeared over the limestone. It's gonna be really hard to find any of these fossils and stuff. Marine biology. And there's some in here. You can see it right here sticking out. I showed in my showing of my shells and fossils and fossil ferrous piece of limestone. You can see these little fossils sticking out. They're usually really small and broken into pieces. But I'm already finding stuff and I haven't got anywhere yet. There's something right here. There's fossils right here already. Some form of marine biology. I'm just gonna set that back down. I haven't got anywhere yet and I'm already destroying this place. Let's grab my bucket. I haven't actually gone down this way yet, so guess I could just go on ahead and go start this on this side and see what I find. Because last time I was here, there was some guy squatting back in this corner. But again, this place is so filled with spray paint and covered with stuff, it's gonna be hard to find stuff. But really, all I gotta do is pick up almost near any exposed piece and I'll find something, probably. Yeah, there's little tiny little pieces in there. It's not really worth covering. Let's get this piece out. Let's start breaking some stuff like Ross was doing. I'm an expert at breaking this stuff, people. All I have is a little hammer. I don't need a big mallet to do this. As you can see, I don't need a big mallet. It's on where you hit it and how you hit it. There's a technique to it. Got some crystals in there. Yeah, but like I said, all these pieces aren't equal. Yeah, I can even break this with my hands. I don't care. But yeah, this is a very sanitized piece, but I'm still seeing that fine crystal powdery matrix in there, which still supports the piezoelectric. But let's go ahead and move on from that annihilated piece. Again, I'm a professional at breaking stones. I've been doing it for about 15 years. And I do believe there's lots of poison ivy in this place, so I gotta be very mindful where I poke around. So I am quite limited. Hoping there's no squatters here. I'll just have to run them out. Oh, of course, we got people already trafficking through here. Yeah, this is definitely the more dense limestone stuff right here. Go over here, I guess. Ooh, gross. Usually with limestone, you want to hit on the edges. There's a shell sticking out right here. Other little pieces of marine biology in here, but like I said, not all this stuff is equal. You're going to see more fossil ferrous pieces than others. That doesn't write this stuff off. So, of course, there's a whole bunch of people in here. Hang on. It is really tragic because this place has clearly been spray painted to death and does have this weird coating on it, as Ross pointed out. This has all been coated and painted. It's going to make this a bit harder than I was wanting it to, but I promise you I'll find enough here to prove my point. And this iron in here looks like it was part of an iron gate or some sort of protection for the window here, which is now missing. So there's that. Man, this whole place has been covered up with stuff. What a bummer. But I will do what I can to find stuff. I mean, there's little pieces in here, but I know no one's going to accept that as evidence, so to each their own, I guess. There's fossil ferrous pieces in here. Little pieces sticking out all through here. Here we got some shells sticking out. You can do all the mental gymnastics you want and say that's something else, but I know what a fucking shell looks like. This is a more phosphorus, fossil ferrous piece. Apologies. There's tiny little shells that's sticking out in here. There's another shell sticking out right here. It's deteriorated and weathered, of course. There's another shell sticking out. I guess you have to want to see the evidence to actually see it, because it's everywhere in these pieces too. It's all through this piece. There we got some of those fossils I was pointing out in my video last night right here. So no, this place is heavily saturated with limestone and other various forms of limestone. This isn't some transitioned mystery. Of course, I had to hop across here to get over there. Living life on the edge as usual. Let me go on ahead and get some of my stuff so I can help point these fossils out easier. Okay, let's see. Get my little water bag and other things out of the way. I can only assume this might be a broken fossil. I'm not going to get super close to try to dissect that one. Let's go ahead and point some of these other fossils out with this little pick I brought with me. Of course, it's got a bunch of gunk on it. One second. Oh well. It has a bunch of the gasket maker on there when I was working on my engine for my project car, which FYI is a Toyota Supra. It's getting a single turbo 2JZ. And this is some gasket maker that was on it. Yes, I like cars, and I work on cars. I do engine swaps, I do all that stuff. I'm not just some person who doesn't know anything. Here we have some more fossils sticking out. A shell on tip of the pick. I'm using the pick as a pointer. There's another small shell. Yes, I'm just recovering these same pieces just because it makes it easier to show you what I'm focusing on without having my disgusting finger in the view. We got this shell sticking out right here. Of course, it's weathered. to most not even being recognizable anymore, but it is a shell. We have this piece over here. I was covering these in my video last night about the shells, showing my shells and fossils evidence. If I didn't cover it, there's a little shell right here. Of course, it's in the shade and you can't really see it. And there's another kind of broke, exposed, weathered shell. Yes, they break, they're not always preserved. So there's that. I'm gonna go ahead and pause this until I find another spot to poke at. Also on that note, this was built like this. The red brick mating up with the limestone. This isn't some weird cataclysmic transitions that just happen to survive, because that doesn't make any sense at all. It's illogical and very unintelligent to assume that. Because how can a destructive force be so destructive and cherry pick and just leave these ones perfectly fine and transmutate those and leave a nice fine separation line? This place was clearly built this way. You don't have to believe it, but I'm going to tell you the facts for what they are. This place was built this way. And when this place was a finished architecture, we probably wouldn't even have seen the red bricks. It probably had a nice fancy marble facade or something covering all the red brick. You would never have seen most of this brickwork. So it's kind of silly to assume that this is some sort of transitioning material when it's not. This is built this way. You see the clear separations from the material. Why I gotta be explaining this, I have no idea. Well, let's go on ahead and get closer up to this piece without touching any poison. The clear choice to make it this way is completely evident. There's a separation of the mortars and the limestone itself. There's all this natural separation in there because that's how it was built. Even down to there. But I'm not really here to beat that one. I'm here to look for fossils. But it's going to be really hard because this place is so coated with stuff. So, I guess I'm going to go ahead and pause it there. Here's another random piece of the Whip Castle limestone, obviously. Not Whip Castle, apologies. The Castle Workhouse. There's little remnants of shell sticking out of here also. There's a pocket of stuff right here. And another shell. So this looks like a pretty fossiliferous piece. Let's see if I can't break this one open some more. Make sure there's no poisonous stuff. This is generally a pretty denser material, this one. Oh, there's some stuff right there. Go and get this over here. Show that here in a second. I want really, really obvious stuff though. I'm not going to try to cherry pick all the little stuff that no one wants to see. Just choose not to see it for some reason. So I got to find that definitive, really nice piece. This one here looks like a pretty good piece. We could probably break this open. How about this big boy here? Dude, don't touch that nasty bra. Get over here. Okay. Here's a nice piece of fossiliferous material. I'm gonna build up a little collection of this stuff because I don't know why people will come here and have trouble finding this stuff. It really kind of blows my mind. Some more shells and little things sticking out of this one, but I know that's not good enough for anybody, so I have to find better pieces. Spend way more time out here trying to find this. All right. I got a nice pile of stuff to show people, but okay, let's see. A bunch of fossils in this one. This is a more fossil ferrous piece. Here. Okay. Some of the fossils sticking out right here already. Okay, let's try to find some more pieces in real time before my phone melts down. It's super hot out here. Apologies for the background chatter. There are people here apparently visiting the castle, doing their own little exploration, I suppose. They probably saw me driving here and thought they'd get curious. We'll break this one open too. I'm not shy, I'll break this stuff open and try to find stuff. All right then. Yeah, I'll leave that piece alone. Feels like a nice fossil ferrous piece. Okay, let's just go and get to breaking some of these. Look at my stuff. One second. There we go. Okay. Bunch of stuff in this piece. Again, what a surprise that the stuff would be speckled and different and varied in the material. Like anyone should ever expect it'd be one for one, and there'd be equal amount of fossils or marine biology in any of this. It's kind of silly. Like somehow that proves a point when it doesn't. Bunch of crap in there. Oh, there's some shells right there, I believe. There's a shell sticking out. Wouldn't you know it? Oh, well, let's get my stuff so I can actually do some of this breaking of the material. And yes, I lost my tripod and transit on vacation home at some point. Seems to be a discolored shell right here. Get my piece out in a second. My little pick. It seems like there's a discolored shell right here. It's hard to see, so I know that's not good enough for anybody. So let's go ahead and start breaking some of this. In fact, let's go ahead and show the pieces where the shells are completely painfully obvious. There's one sticking out right here. Yes, it's deteriorated and weathered. It's not going to look like a perfectly preserved shell. There's a shell. Here's more shells. More shells. More shells. More shells. This piece has got a lot of stuff in it. So there's that more fossil ferrous piece. And this piece here has stuff sticking out of it. Broken up pockets of marine biology. We'll get to breaking these here in a second. But there's this one here. I showed some of these that were separated from the material. You see each little piece of it. There's that fossil. But let's go on ahead and start breaking some of this. See what I can expose out of here. And again, I don't have a tripod, so I gotta do this the obnoxious way. See if I can't break this little shell out without breaking it. I'm trying to be too careful here. Oh wait, I overlooked this little shell that popped out. See the shell there? Let's go ahead and stage this up and use my pick to point it out so people don't think there's any excuses here not to see it. Because unfortunately it seems people are choosing that path as opposed to seeing the evidence. There's a shell. Hang on, let me get this focused better. There's a shell sticking out right here. Right at the tip of my pick. And no, it's not something that looks like a shell. That is 110% a shell. It's not some weird anomaly that can't be explained. That's a shell. See if I can't get that piece out a little bit better. Get these pieces up here real quick in case there's more stuff that popped out. Well, no, but that little shell's still there. You know how much more proof you need? See if anything else popped out. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, I'm not trying to count all the little stuff that no one wants to see. So I want to just find the nice big shells, or at least big enough to show. That's kind of absurd because not all this stuff is consistent. It's very sprinkled around. I mean, even though this one had a shell sticking out of it, I know that's some people will say that's not good enough. There's a shell right here. So let's continue on breaking this bigger piece here for anything that might be hiding in here. 1 second. All right, apologies for that. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not going to break these pieces down super small to find the little stuff that's in them. That's the buff. Let's see. One second again. All right, apologies for that. Start looking away from this stuff. It's starting to hit me in the face. Yeah, this is definitely those denser layers of the limestone, for sure. This piece is already broken. Let me put eyes on it first. If I see something, I'll show it. If not, I'll just toss it. And there's a shell sticking out right there. But I know that's not good enough for people, so we'll move on from that. Well, there's a piece that had that marine biology sticking out right here. Interesting little piece of life there at one time. All right. It does appear there's a shell sticking out of this. It's kind of hard to see. But it's right here. Get my pick. It's right here. It's really hard to see because it blends in with the color of the material. But it's there. You kind of see some of the detail right here. So that's not good enough, I'm sure, so let's continue on. Looks like another shell sticking out right here. Let's see if I can get that one out a little bit better. Carefully, of course. Lost it. Oh, there it is. In fact, I did break it out better to show it. There's a little shell. 1 second. 1 second. There's a little shell sticking out right here. You can see it above my pick. It's right here. So that's not good enough. 1 second. Here we have another little piece of the shell sticking out above my pick. As I keep saying and have to keep repeating, not all this stuff is equal, and a lot of it's broken up into small pieces. But there's this tiny little bits of biology all in here. Another shell. Another shell. Another one of these fossil pieces here I've pointed out in my video, I find. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. There's another one right here. This more fossilized bone looking thing. I forget the name of it, but it's there. Got this shell. Let's see something real quick. Get some of this stuff cleaned up, so I'm not got a messy work area here. Just small things no one will ever accept visually for some reason, so I'll ignore that. I mean, it's obvious this is a fossil ferrous piece of limestone. Looked like one of the shells flew out or something flew out right here. See where the shell left its indention. Well, that one's gone. I'm not going to spend a bunch of time on these pieces. This one here looked like it had some stuff. Well, little bits of stuff in it. Let's see if I can't break this one open. Bunch of weird crystallized marine biology and other things in there. Of course, the camera is not going to pick that up. There's something sticking out right here. Not good enough, so let's go ahead and move on. Yeah, it's actually quite hard to find a complete shell in this stuff when you're breaking it open. Take my word for it, it's not that easy. Most of the stuff you'll see is just broken up smaller pieces. Not good enough. Move on from that. Let's go ahead and try to break this piece open here. This has some stuff in it, but if I find a good fossil that's going to make people happy or not, that's up for debate. Move on from that piece already. Move on from that. Sorry for my finger there. There's a shell. Let's see. There's a little shell sticking out right here. Use my pick to point it out. It's right there. Of course, it's always nicer to find the big ones, but I can't promise that's going to happen breaking these open. It's so varied and random. Odds are you're going to find a bunch of broken stuff. We got that little Lichtenberg pattern going on right here. That dendritic Lichtenberg looking scarring on this rock. Wonder if the plasma left its little static fingerprint on it. There's that shell at least. Hopefully that's good enough. I mean, I've already proven there's marine biology in this stuff. We got that little shell. Of course, it's not going to be perfectly preserved, so that's kind of a silly thing to expect. Toss it out of the way. Move on from this piece. Let's go ahead and get this piece. Oh, it's already falling apart. Go ahead and move on from that. Let's see if I can find something in this fossil ferrous piece. Of course, I already know the little stuff doesn't get accounted for because it could just be anything, right? So I have to find the complete, obvious, perfectly preserved big shell to show people. That's what they're expecting, apparently. You know, I can point out the little broken up bits all day long. People just don't want to see that. That's fair. Waste no time with this stuff. Right, had to pause there for a second, sorry. this is a nice little piece here. Let's go ahead and move on from that. Let's see what's in this piece. I'm gonna move on from doing this for a while because this is just getting annoying. Breaking these all day like this. It's not what I came here to do. I came out here to show the obvious stuff that's sticking out as well. Looks like there's a big shell sticking out of this piece. Of course, that's not good enough, so let's move on. I feel like it's just broken in there. Because that does happen. Like I said, I'm only going to show things that are worth showing. Look at that cool dendritic pattern, little static shock thing going through that piece. That's pretty cool. Almost like something static zapped this piece. I'm not saying that's evidence of it, but it's pretty cool. There's more of it right here. That could be something else. Of course, mosquitoes are right here like crazy. I know people are expecting that perfect shell, but can't promise anything. Because it really is hit or miss. Most of the time, you're just gonna find broken up small stuff. Kind of like that right there. And as usual, mosquitoes are annoying. I mean, even though there's shells sticking out of this, for some reason I don't feel like that's good enough, so I gotta keep going. Let's keep going on these last few pieces, I guess. I'll probably just show some of this other stuff I found sticking out on some of these. In fact, I lied. I'm going to go on ahead and just... Oh, here's a nice big shell. One second. Didn't have to break this one to expose it. One moment as I find a way to stage this thing up. But here we have a already exposed shell. Hopefully that's coming in clear enough for people to see. That's generally what they look like if they're not broken or discolored. So there's that shell. Let's see if I can extract this one. Here you got your shell. Which I'm seeing plenty of out here. Let's go get a better shot of this shell real quick. Try to clean up some of this powder off it, but there's this shell. And yes, you just watched me in real time extract this from the limestone. What are the excuses? Just yet another limestone castle slash palace or mansion. Gonna put that off to the side. This one seems to be a nice piece, so let's try to find some more. Got more of that Lichtenberg looking stuff going on in here. But that could just be some sort of dendritic fungus like they say, or whatever. A little shell right there, but that's not good enough for anybody, so let's move on from that. Okay. More of that cool looking dendritic pattern. And a tiny little broken shell in there, but not good enough, so I'll keep looking for better pieces. Looks like there might have been something sticking out right here, but it's been broken up and crystallized. Not good enough. No, that's good enough. Not good enough. Not trying to spend a bunch of time on trying to pick out the little stuff. Just want to find the big stuff. Oh, look at that. That one broke pretty nice. A good old slam with the hand works sometimes. Alright, let's get on with that. Yeah, I'm just trying to find the big stuff. I'm not trying to point out the little broken up biology because apparently that's not good enough for anybody, so I keep repeating. So here I am, breaking these up for people. Not sure what people are expecting. Most of the stuff is broken up into small pieces. Yes, sometimes you get lucky and you find a nice, really nice shell in this, but that's not that common. More times than not, you see it just exposed on the outside from when it was quarried. And this is just not very fossil ferrous material here. Because again, there's different types of limestone, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's pretty obvious that there's different stuff going on with this. It's not all equal. Oh, there's a shell. It just flew out of there on that piece I just hit. There's your other shell. Let's put that up there for a second. See if anything else popped out of this one piece. Looks like there might be another shell sticking out right here. But that's, let me see if I can't get that out real fast. There's some of that little bone fossil fragment piece sticking out right there, which I showed my show of my fossils and evidence and whatnot. Go ahead and get that out of the way. I'm not going to waste time on trying to get that little piece out. There's where a shell used to be. You can see the indentation of the shell still in the limestone. Hopefully that's coming through clear. In fact, I think this piece went right here, maybe. Let me see. Oh yes, perfect. This piece right here went right here like this. Sorry for the janky work there. But I found the missing piece, which the shell was housed in. So if you pick this piece up, let's go ahead and show it. You don't see any shell anywhere. Sorry for my hand being in the way. I'm trying to hold this together. But if I pick this piece off of here, you'll see the shell in its new home. There you go, boys and girls. There's a shell. It's a pretty nice preserved one too. You're gonna tell me that's just some miscellaneous rock that just looks like a shell? I got more shells at home I could show if you want, if you need a better mental connection, image, I mean, a mental image. But there's a shell, boys and girls. Let's go and move on from this piece. There's the other part of the shell that's stuck to this side. I'm gonna leave that there. I don't need any more shells. I got plenty at home from doing this type of stuff. Ignore it, ignore it. Ignore it. Sorry, I was making out with my phone, so if that got loud, I apologize. But like I said, this fossil ferrous piece has more shells in it. Some of this stuff is a real pain. Use this as a little knee pad. It's getting kind of hard on my knees. I can't get this piece broken up open real quick. Not trying to go too ham here because I don't want any more rocks shooting me in the face, which has already happened several times pretty good. The price you pay, I guess. But yeah, I think I proved my point with the shells in this one. Something else that's sticking out there, but not good enough. More of that crystal fossilized marine biology matrix in here. Go ahead and move from that. Let's see if there's anything immediately sticking out on this piece. That cool little dendritic pattern again there. Makes me wonder if plasma actually caused that to happen. When it struck this material and petrified it and fossilized it. And yes, I use those interchangeably, so if anyone gets confused as to why I call a fossilized shell petrified, that's why. Let's see if there's anything hiding in this rubble pile now. Oh, there's a shell. what's left of it. What's left of that poor shell. Yeah, I think I'm about done breaking these rocks open until I find some other ones I want to break open. But right now I kind of want to go on, do some looking around. We got some of that crystal in there. Just more evidence of marine biology that fossilized, at least in this case. All right, let's go ahead and, well, one second. See this piece real fast. 'Cause I did see some stuff sticking out of here. Pointed it out already, and it's hard to see, but there's this piece. Let's go ahead and try to break some of this off without shooting my eye with rocks. Sorry for my finger there. Yeah, this is some very dense material here. Sorry, I was looking off other pieces and the phone wandered off. That's happening a lot because I'm trying to find the pieces without sitting there trying to look through the phone to find them. Yeah, man, I'm not trying to take an eye out here, but I gotta get this into this piece here. Usually come from the edges, it works better. Yeah, this is just a super dense piece. I don't suspect there's gonna be too much in that. So let's just go on ahead and move around and try to actually find some stuff. Now I'm gonna move on from that. I think I proved the point enough there. Let's go around and look for some other stuff that's still exposed and can be seen. Yeah, this place is a freaking mess, man. It's painted and covered up with stuff. You can't see anything. There's like the poison ivy right here and right here, which, if I'm not mistaken, I saw Ross climb to that in his video. Hopefully he didn't get any of that shit. Yeah, I don't even know if I'm gonna go back in this spot personally. There's just so much of it through here. The devil itself. Yeah, there's not much to see back here anyway. It's all covered up and coated anyway, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get out of here, because I'm not trying to tempt fate here. Even if it's not poison ivy, I'm sure the hell I'm not tempting that. Let's go on ahead. Well, I'd like to find one of these magically transitioning bricks. But like I said, I don't think there's any evidence to support that. Clearly there isn't. Because if something magical happened to these, and it was such a catastrophic event, these bricks would show signs of a stone matrix. It's just discoloring. There's nothing going on here. It's still just a brick. Of course, I always pick the best times to come out here. It's right about 4 o'clock. I feel like more of the devil right there. Just try to be careful walking through here. All right. Looks like a lot of it right here. Whoa, boy. Boy, I do not like this stuff. And boy, did I see Ross climbing through it. So hopefully he's immune to it or didn't get any. I gotta be super careful coming through here. Look, he had a heyday tearing that piece of brick out. Let's see here. Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's much to see back over here. Oh, look, there's the lettuce itself, the devil's lettuce. Let's, yeah, I don't want to be in this corner. I'm going to have to go somewhere else. Yeesh, gotta get out of here. Let's try to see if I can't find one of these magically transitioned half stone, half brick bricks. I mean, you would think someone would have found a perfectly transitioned or perfectly half transitioned brick by now if this is such a widespread cataclysm. You just can't see a brick in an infrastructure and architecture and assume that all the other materials were a brick once because of random bricks there that you can't explain. It's so silly. I say that in the nicest way possible, but it's really silly just to come to that conclusion. Yes, because there's a brick in the wall that I can't explain. It must mean all the other materials were a brick. Okay. And as Ross has already covered, a lot of this stuff has got paint on it, has been painted. Go figure. But let's just go on ahead and see what I can find. Even though I've already found enough to support my evidence, but I'm still going to continue looking for stuff. Yeah, they did a number on this place with the spray paint. And I guess they came through and painted it a weird tan color at one point. And that's where I hit my head rushing out of here, and that tweaker squatter was trying to strike another conversation with me. I was coming out here. It sounds like Ross hit his head here too. So we both head checked ourselves right here. I was rushing out looking, I had my head down, looking down like this. And I didn't see this part step up, and I smacked my head right on this. Yeah, that did a number on my head right there. I had to drive home with a gashed open, bleeding head. Top of my head anyways. So let's go on ahead and see what we can find in here. I'm gonna bring my trusty old hammer here. Bunch of weird stuff going on there. No point in wasting time with that. Just a bunch of red brick and limestone, exactly how this place was built. Doesn't have to make sense, but that's how it was built. I mean, let's be honest. When they built this place, it probably had a facade in here. You probably didn't even see the red brick. You can clearly see the separation lines in this. So that one brick did kind of carry over to the other side, but that's not that anomalous to me. But you clearly see the line where the two materials were joined. Why they built it like that, I don't know. It just did. So I'm going to use this ladder here to scale up against some of these walls to try to find other stuff. If I can even get this thing to stage up properly. Use at your own risk. Oh, I will. A little tiny shell sticking out right here. That's not a shell, you can't prove it. That's a little pebble. Man, this place is all boogered up, man. You can't hardly see anything. Let's move the ladder over there. This here, let's go check this out real fast. Does someone leave rocks here? Do someone with a little bag of rocks? Little polished rocks. That's pretty cool. Okay. Apologies for the awkward silence. I'm kind of just looking around and now scratching my shoulder. Huh. Yeah. Materials everywhere. And shells. That might be something in the mortar. Like scratch that. Alright, let's move this ladder elsewhere. See if I can't find something up here. Avoid the devil's lettuce, which seems to be hiding right over here as well. That 3-leaf wonder. Oh, okie. Let's scale up this wall here that has copious amounts of mortar covering everything. No, this isn't proof to any. Doesn't prove transitioning right here because the red bricks match in with the limestone. Not sure how people convince themselves of that, but to each their own. I don't believe it for a second. Absolutely do not believe transitioning bricks to stone. Absolutely do not believe or support that because there's zero evidence of it that anyone could prove and or provide. Besides seeing your odd random brick stuffed in a stone wall or infrastructure or architecture. All right. Very interesting that this place is so painted up and covered up like this. Must have taken a lot of work to do this. We got some more janky work there. You never have seen that when the place was a finished structure. And now, of course, it's all dilapidated and mortar and everything's falling out, so it looks worse than it was when it was an actual functioning place. It looked like there used to be a floor here. So we're in the basement. There used to be a floor that cut across here, obviously. But now we're in the basement. And all this stuff is so weathered and dirty and got paint and other stuff on it. It's a bummer. But I think I've shown enough in the pieces I could find that there's marine biology in this. Yeah. Man, the amount of power and skill it would take to quarry all this stuff and make a building with it, it's mind-boggling. Just proves that these structures are way harder to make than people are giving them credit. This was obviously not an easy feat to accomplish, building something out of this limestone. This material's hard. Okay, here we go. I got some stuff here I want to break out. Because as we can see, we got your limestone, we got a red brick in there. Let's go get my stuff real quick. I'm going to pause this. Okay, a little experiment here. This is the limestone, and this is the brick that's clearly been mortared here. Don't you think if the event was so cataclysmic that it just cherry-picked this piece to become a limestone, don't you think some transition would have carried over to this brick? Don't you think there should be some evidence of this brick having a brick and stone mixture of the matrix? I'd think so. Let's try to get this piece out. See if there's any transitioning. Besides discoloration from the mortar being on this side. Let's see here. Get that. Let's get the other part broken open here. Nope. Sorry, boys and girls. What you thought was a transitioning material is just a red brick. How many more times I got to keep proving this? There's no Goldilocks transition line here. This is clearly just and always been a red brick, joined with the limestone in some janky fashion, whatever the hell you want to call it. It doesn't change the fact of what it is. Let's get that out of the way. Then we got this other one right here. Let's see. Oh, there's no transitioning still. But yet this cataclysmic event was so destructive, it raped the entire world. It fucking razed all of it. But yet it just cherry-picked. I don't see any stone matrix in this red brick, even though it's surrounded by limestone. Shall I continue on destroying this? Dismantling this pseudo theory, this faux theory? I think I must. This is all just mortar in here. I don't see this transitioning material. Nope, just a red brick. Let's check this one. You see the limestone over here? Well, this is all mortar. This just shows this was mortared in here, but there is limestone right here. But there's a clear mortar separation here showing this brick was placed here. There's no mystery here, but let's continue on destroying this wall here to prove my point. A weird squished brick. But there's no stone matrix in this brick. It's almost as if they made this one on the spot and it got squished here. I don't see this magical transition line of stone to brick. Sorry, apologies, brick to stone. Yeah, I misspeak a lot, I apologize. Sometimes I don't always catch it. So where's this Goldilocks line where this red brick should be showing signs of transitioning into stone? Get this mortar out of my way. So you got your random piece of limestone in the mortar. I don't see any red brick on this transition. And this is just a glob of mortar that has not been heated up and or melted because it's not vitrified or showing any signs of melt or burn anywhere. This is just what mortar looks like, people. Why do I gotta be explaining this? More mortar. There's a big piece of mortar right here. Big old mortar booger, as I would call it. Okay, and we got a random brick slapped in the mortar right there. We'll get to extracting that one here in a minute. I don't see this transitioning material. You can't honestly convince yourself that this limestone was a brick once and was hit by such a cataclysmic event that it just cherry-picked and left these ones completely untouched. There's no separation, there's no transition. This is just a red brick, and it's not even a very good one. So again, I ask, where is this transitioning line at? Since I seem to be the only person breaking these bricks out of these fucking walls to show this. Look, there's a red brick in this limestone structure. It makes no sense. It must mean everything else was a brick. Yeah, I'm being sarcastic and having fun with it. You don't have to like it, but that's really what it sounds like to me. And to think a lot of the community is convinced of this fucking unintelligent assumption. Still don't see this magical transitioning anywhere. You're cherry picking. Oh, am I? Isn't this a ground zero? Which for some reason these red bricks can't be explained. When it was clearly built that way. It's not a fucking mystery. Yeah, I'm getting passionate again. You don't have to like it. But I'm so sick of people just trying to cling on to this theory that doesn't have any center to stand on. Why the hell you'd make a brick like that, I don't know, but they did. Doesn't mean it's melted. But we're gonna get to this brick here soon. Let's go ahead and get this piece out and extracted. Look, there's a red brick sticking out of the mortar. So this got so hot, it just still looks like mortar and there's no transitioning with this brick pieces in there. Oh, look, it's just exactly what it looks like. Janky work you would never have seen when this was a complete structure. Not a mystery. What do I gotta be out here dissecting these walls to prove this? Here we go. I just separated this broke brick, which was separated by mortar. Clear as day. That's mortar, not transition material. It looks like this because you were never meant to see this part. This was hidden behind other nicer facading. This is called cutting corners to get the structure done, and it still stood, so I guess I don't see why it's such a hard thing to conceptualize here. But I know people want to just explore different ideas. You're free to it, but I'm not going to stop dismantling this, whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to call it a theory because it's so far beyond provable not to be anything besides a big misunderstanding. Well, we got more mortar. I mean melted material. This must have got so hot it melted into mortar. Why that random broke piece of brick is in there? Gee, I don't know. Maybe the mason that built this place decided he had a chunk of fucking brick and tossed it into the mortar. They do that. Go around and ask masons. Hey, you build stuff with red brick and mortar and do all this stuff. Do you guys sometimes throw extra pieces of red brick in the mortar when people aren't going to see it? They'll tell you yes. So that explains why there's little random pieces of the red brick in the mortar. It was a complete choice by the person who was making the mortar mix and had extra broken bricks laying around. Why they did it? Because it's easier to dispose of them and hide them in the mortar than to pack them up in trash and haul them off. No transitioning. Just another one of your usual broken brick stuff and stuffed in mortar. And there's no transitioning here. This is clearly just a broke brick that's stuck in the wall. All right, here's more mortar. And here's this now dismantled, still just perfect red brick matrix. There's no transitioning materials in here. You just saw me extract this from the wall. But I'm gonna go ahead and pause this and go, oh wait, there's a piece of concrete there with a red brick tossed in it. That's not a mystery either. You think this is melt, people? This is exactly what I was just talking about. Masons or people that built these will make this concrete and they'll throw bricks in here. Oh, look at that. Let's see what this looks like. Let's break this out. I bet you there's no transition in this material. If there's anything left. Nope, it's just a brick in the mix. Exactly as it looks like. And this piece of concrete. As you can see, there's no transitioning. Yes, the mortar does get really close and seep up to it sometimes, but that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't prove it's melt. Get that out of the way. And yes, it had a little piece of the brick sticking out right there, and the mortar got in here, in between the pieces. That's just how that works. So they obviously had pieces of red brick laying around, and they just tossed the scraps in this concrete mix. This isn't melt. For this to have been melt, this would have gotten so hot it would have vitrified, melted, and did a bunch of other weird shit. This is concrete. Did people forget what concrete looks like? That's sad. Let's see if there's any transitioning behind this. Oh. Golly gee willikers. I just took that brick out of this concrete matrix. And the back of it still looks like a brick. Where's this Goldilocks line? If this is for some reason being theorized to be melt, how can it cherry pick and just melt all that but leave this brick completely untouched? And it's just a red brick. God damn, whoever would have thought. What a fucking mystery. Nope, just a red brick. Why do I gotta be doing this, people? I really don't want to be mean about this. I'm really trying not to be. But it's so painfully obvious what we're looking at. At least what I'm looking at. I know it's painfully obvious. Let's go over here. See if I can't find some more stuff to point out and discuss and explain. Well, can't see much here. Paint everywhere. The usual. And there's more stuff stashed up in there. It looks like there's get my flashlight out here real quick. The stash spot, boys and girls. Look at that. Look at some more of those rocks. Well, that's fascinating. Let's go ahead and move on from that. I'm gonna go ahead and pause until I find something else to record here so this video doesn't last fucking 3 hours. I went on ahead and did myself a favor and knocked some of this mortar out of the way to get this other random brick out of the mix. But let's see if I can get this out in real time. You see there's no transitioning materials here. And call this cherry picking all you want, but this is what people are claiming is their evidence. And this is what I have to work with and to disprove. So let's go ahead and do this in real time. Oh man, I might have to get my, I might have to pause this and get more work. Get this mortar out because I want to try getting this piece out better. So hang on. And what I was meaning to say is I had to get my chisel out here to get this mortar off. My little pry bar. So that's what I was going to grab to get this extracted out better to show there's no transitioning material here. In fact, this might just be a broken brick in here. Let's go ahead and pull it out anyways. Ah, there's no transitioning. And no, that's just lime leaching. That's just mineralization and dirt. Let's go ahead and break this open to keep beating this dead horse. This isn't some magical transition, cataclysmic accident here. No, as I expected, just red brick with mineralization on the outside. And that's lime from the mortar. I used to clean buildings. I know what lime looks like from the mortar. So, yet again, just another red brick in the mix by choice. Notice that's a weird pocket of shit there isn't nothing. Just smeared away with my hand. So no, there's no transitioning material here. This is mineralization and lime from the mortar. Well, I still don't see this magical transition from this oh so horrific cataclysmic event that fucking destroyed the entire world. Sorry if I'm coming off mean about it, but there's more evidence to disprove this fairy tale. It's exactly what it is just a fucking fairy tale that people convince themselves of. So let's just add this to the pile of more disproven crap. And whoever wants to come here can to look at this for themselves. No, I'm not bullshitting anybody. I don't know how I could be bullshitting anybody. You just watched me extract these red bricks from this. There's no BS going on here. This is exactly what it looks like. There's another brick hiding in here too. Let me just go and break that out to show there's no transition in this one. Not that I had to keep proving this, but I'm going to. Just another brick. That was put there for reasons that they put it there for. We would never have seen it anyway, so what the fuck's it matter? We're only seeing it now because we're seeing the exposed core of this infrastructure here. We never would have seen this. No one ever would have saw this when it was a complete building. Doesn't make it a mystery. I'm sorry to keep putting it that way, but I know that's why people are still clinging on to it, as is the evidence points towards. I'll get you out, don't worry. Oh, it's just another brick with no transition. And no, all this lime leaching on this red brick doesn't show that's transitioning. I promise that's not transitioning. So I'll break it and I'll show you. All because people have a big lack of understanding of what they're looking at and choose to not see the evidence. So what I'm here showing people. Because this is gray, does it mean it's transition material? Sure the fuck doesn't. This is yet again just another red brick that was stuffed in the mortar mix. Call it cherry picking all you want, but I already told you every time I found stuff like this and I could expose it, I am. There's more of your evidence of this fairy tale destroyed. Let's go ahead and move on to some other stuff. I'm gonna pause it until I find my next spot. And it should be completely obvious. You're seeing a bunch of red brick and limestone and mortar and other stuff down here, because this building is clearly destroyed and dilapidated. So this isn't signs of some sort of cataclysm either. That's just, yeah, she didn't have to say it. But there's a reason why all this material is down here scattered like this, obviously. So I'm gonna leave it at that again. Well, I climbed up this little piece of the remains of this castle. I was using that there janky ladder. Got up to this spot. And I see quarry marks on this limestone. It's not an alleged quarry mark, it's a quarry mark. Sure the fuck isn't any signs of cataclysmic damage. So there's that. Not a whole lot to see up here either. Everything yet again is all boogered up and mortared. You can't see anything. This could have been many years of repairing this place, because depending on how old it is, this mortar will get old and fall out. You have to come out and apply the mortar in the joints, rejoint this stuff. This looks like a bunch of lazy fuck rejointing work along all through this place. So there's really nothing to see here. Besides this big piece of ironwork here, door framing. And the big door sticking up there. So I guess I'm gonna go ahead and climb down here because there's nothing to see in here. On my way down from this room, this, I found some more of these fossils sticking out right here. Kind of wish I would have brought one of them with me to make a comparison, a visual comparison with, but I didn't think I had to after making that video showing this stuff clear as day. But there's this piece. Oh, it's just our one little piece. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't prove nothing. Oh, it proves everything. This is a limestone structure built with red brick. As I've been saying, the KCMO area in Independence is heavily built with and infrastructured with limestone and red brick. And then, in fact, this castle is perfect evidence of that. That's why you see the blend of the two materials. Like right here. That's why you see the blend of the limestone and the red brick. This is exactly what I'm talking about. They blended these materials like that. So, again, not to be mean, but it's not a mystery. This very place proves exactly what I've been saying. Independence in the KCMO area, heavily built out with limestone and red brick. I also did a good job at covering that in the West Bottoms, exactly as I've said, repeatedly now. So I'm gonna go and pause this until my next little piece of something shows up. It's also interesting to note that they have these really big pieces of ironwork here as support beams for this infrastructure, this architecture. Sorry, I say those backwards a lot. But who's to say when these were added or they were built when the castle was built? But they are here, but they could have been added later. But I still want to go ahead and just point them out. These big iron braces here. They seem to have, well, there's nothing showing they're fixed up on the top piece there. They gotta be down in the ground. Oh yeah, these were, these might have been added later possibly, but doesn't change the factor here. So yeah, I just wanted to cover these. Yeah, these were probably added later to try keeping the old structure from falling in on itself. Or they are original to the castle and they're just as old as the castle. So we'll just leave it at that. Just to go back and check my car randomly, let's go ahead and do that. I haven't taken a peek out there yet. I'm gonna watch out for this thing this time. Let's go see if my car is still okay. Because I do park it in here and people do come out here. It does seem to be okay. Besides yeah, it's fine. Let's go back to look at stuff in here. Here I am up in this one spot I used the ladder to get up here, and I'm also go ahead and start poking around here. In fact, I wanted to come over here and knock some of these red bricks out, just because I can. To show there's no transitioning going on here. I don't even have to do it over here. That's stupid. Most of this is just red brick anyways. There's those little mystery bags of polished rocks. Actually, let's go ahead and go along this way real quick. A bunch of mortar everywhere on everything as usual. Random bits of biology in here. A broken shell sticking out right here. See what you want, but that's what it is. There's more of that little marine biology. This is a more fossiliferous piece for sure. Because as I have to keep repeating now, these aren't all the same. They're not equal. There's varying amounts of these fossils and marine biology in here. So there's clear as day, your broke shell, and these little pieces I showed my fossils and shells video. Another nice little piece sticking out right here I overlooked. Very fascinating. This place is already destroyed. I'm not hurting it any, so. And that's pretty obvious. Almost like this material separated these fossils out to the outer side mostly. Interesting thing I've been noticing with this particular limestone. Looks like it was so dense it pushed most of the other stuff out. This must have been like a weird clay layer at one time, and these fossils sit on top of it. Very interesting. I'm trying to find that one cool shell that's usually you can find hiding in these still. Looks like there's a little something hiding right there. So sometimes you will get the shells randomly in there because there is one right there. Let me reposition this. You see it? If my phone would stop being retarded and focus. There that piece is. I know some people are going to say that's not good enough evidence, but it's clearly there. It's a super tiny little piece of shell sticking out of this part right here. I know, what a stretch. I can't show it through the camera, but I can see it with the naked eye. And it's sitting right here above my fingernail. Super tiny little shell there. You can barely make out what it is, so I'll just write that one off because that isn't good enough even for me, but I could still see it's marine biology. There was a shell here, and it looks like there's another one that was right here. That's separated from the material, which I didn't see those in time, so they're probably now gone. But those are the shell indentions in the material. On this piece here, you can see two of them clearly. There's still part of the shell stuck on this part right here. And there's some of it sticking on this part here. That little white piece is in there of the calcium of the shell. You can even see the shape of the shell. In fact, you can even see some of the design of the shell still embedded in this piece. Sorry, I had the phone zoomed in. That's probably not helping anything. I greatly apologize for that. But you can see this shell shape. You can see where the shell left its indentation on the material. So yes, because I can move on from this. I don't have to keep beating this like a dead horse. Go ahead and go back on to some stuff over here I was noticing, maybe. There's a shell sticking out, damaged. Ah, there's a shell just sticking out right there, free for the taking. These ones are cool to find. 1 minute. Found this little shell just sitting on top of the material. Let's just go ahead and put this on my hammer handle here. As you can see, there's a shell. Probably go and keep that one just because, why not? Fits in my pocket, it's not taking up any room. Let's get back across here. Let's go back off into here. It's getting kind of dark. I'm gonna have to get a flashlight out maybe. But I'm pretty sure when Ross was flipping this piece over, I might have seen a shell on it. So I'm gonna try to verify that. Okay. Maybe. Maybe I was the one seeing things. Huh. There's a shell sticking out right here. This shell sticking out right here. You see the shell, the other shell, another shell. I think it's pretty much clear as day. This place is pretty much the same as I've been seeing everywhere. There's another shell sticking out on this back side right here. So we got this shell. Of course, they're always damaged or not perfectly preserved. So just your typical marine biology. petrified, fossilized in this material. And it's a real fucking shit show in here to try to see anything either. Huh. I'm not trying to get my flashlight out just yet because it's annoying using it while I'm holding a phone. Yeah. Smells like a campfire in here. A bonfire. Is that Ross's footprint I just smashed out with that rock? Oops. Yeah, it's not good enough to come to a conclusion on. Try to watch out for all the gross stuff in here. In fact, I don't even really want to be poking around in here, to be honest. Very interesting. Is that a... That's a mushroom one. That's really cool. I almost want that, but I don't know if that's like a hex bag or something, so I'm just going to leave that alone. Because sometimes people, if you believe that shit or not, people can make hexes out of this stuff. So, yeah, I'd leave it alone. As much as I would like to collect those up because there's cool rocks in them and I like to collect stuff like that, I'm not taking that. Let's see if I can't get this piece moved some more. There's little speckles of stuff in here, but it's not enough to show as proof, even though it's there. Unfortunately. Because I can see it with the naked eye, but people want like super undeniable proof, which is I've already done many times over now, but here I am, still doing it. So we'll move on from that. Golly, that would have been a headache right there. Yeah, someone had a fire in there. Knew I was smelling something. Huh. Fascinating. Last time I came up here, there was a tent. Someone left their stuff. My first time back here in 2015, there was a bunch of stuff crammed up in this corner. And I was able to actually climb up here and get to that spot on that wood frame up there. But clearly that's not here anymore, so there's that. Here we got more of the limestone with the red brick combo going here. I'm gonna go ahead and get my hammer out and just take that piece out. Wish these miscellaneous fucking insects in here would piss off. That would be great. Let's go and get this piece out, even though it's completely obvious what it is. Just a red brick. So we got the evidence of limestone, janky stone. Why they build like that, big mystery. But here we got the limestone. So you can see there's no red brick going on here. It's exactly what it looks like, just limestone. That piss off mosquito. We got some mortar here. Any transitioning going on in here? Besides the red paint is not transitioning. Just mortar. I don't see any melt anywhere. Don't see any vitrified material. Don't see anything cooked out, charred out, nothing. Just a bunch of mortar and janky limestone. And of course I see a red brick in the mix here, so I guess that must mean, since this red brick is here, this all must have been all this limestone must have been red brick once, because this one unexplained brick is here. Dude, let's see if there's any transitioning in here. God, you don't say. Just a red brick. Yeah, just a red brick, boys and girls, mixed in with the janky stone. It still has all of its separation lines from the actual material. You got both sides intact. All corners. Now it's all broken though. But as you see, there's no stone matrix in this anywhere. So again, I posed the question, how can such a cataclysmic event that completely murdered the entire world cherry pick like this? Get this mortar out of the way. So I don't see any transitioning here. You see the line here with the mortar sitting on top of the brick. Does anyone care to explain to me why this event's so selective and can cherry pick so defined with such definition like that? Bet you can't. I'll wait though. But again, here's more evidence of what I've been saying. There's no brick transition in any of this red brick matrix. I don't know why I gotta be saying this. I really don't. I'm really not trying to be mean about this. I just really want to help people come to some clarity on this, so there's no rabbit holes to go down and get lost in, which people have found themselves in. But there's your more evidence showing no brick transition to stone. It's all exactly what it looks like. Just a red brick shoved in with the janky stone. And also, the same thing over here. The separation of the materials. And yes, the mortar does get really close to it like that. That doesn't show anything. So don't think, oh, there it is, there it is. There's nothing there, I promise. Let's go and break that out. If I can. You can see the separation between the materials. There's no transition in here. None. Zero. But why is it there? Fuck, I don't know. They put it there. So it's there. Alright, I guess I'm going to go ahead and stop this video again until I find something else, because as Ross already pointed out, and as I've been stating as well repeatedly, this place has got so much spray paint and paint on it and all this other miscellaneous crap. It's actually really hard to actually just go up to the material itself and try to find anything. That's that's virtually impossible at this point. But I think I've shown enough inside of here to prove my point, further support what I'm saying. And again, you saw them in real time extracting these red bricks out of this janky stone here, and there's no transition anywhere. You can't have it both ways. You can't say a cataclysmic event turned this self-evident limestone into the material it is today. Like to say the event was so cataclysmic that it turned a brick into this, but just left this one perfectly preserved, is illogical and very unintelligent to say. A very unintelligent thing to say. So, sorry, kind of lost where I was going with that, but there's more real-time evidence that's showing there's no transition in any of this. And that's the evidence I'm looking for that no one can provide. I want to see I want to see one of these fucking janky stone walls made with whatever stone of your choice, whatever mystical, magical material of your choice. Extract these bricks out and show me the transition. Until I see half of this brick and half of this stone with perfect transition, you have nothing. And I'll keep waiting for that evidence that will never surface. And I don't want no fucking pseudo or faux evidence either. I want 100% definitive fact of something that can't be proven. How silly. So, I guess with that in mind, I think I'm going to pause this and get out of this piece up here. Well, I've gotten down from up here. Let's see if I can't find some weird stuff around in here. Hopefully just find some stuff that's broken and sitting here on the ground. Oh, it's a piece of a cinder block. No, that's melted material. Oh, looks like cement and cinder block to me. Okay, and here we got more red brick. It's not what I'm looking for. Here looking for the limestone that's broken around on the ground, because the walls are really hard to see. Of course, that's not good enough evidence for anybody, so I'll move on from that. There's a shell right here. There's a shell. Here's a bigger destroyed shell. See what you want, but that's what it is. I'd wager that's a piece of a shell sticking out at a weird angle, but you know. Bunch of little stuff in there, but that's not good enough evidence. Sorry for this video dragging out for so long. I just hope people actually watch this stuff and just stop writing me off. That'd be great. Because I'm actually really trying to help course correct the community. Because it feels like it needs to be done. It needs to be done. At this point, it's just gotten so bad. I really am not trying to say that to be mean. But to keep hanging on to something that can't be proven is just, yeah, I don't even have to say it. Looks like there's some shellage sticking out right here. There's a shell sticking out. No, it's just not a rock. It looks like a shell. It's a shell. Do I need to show more of my receipts showing I know what a shell looks like? It's clear as day, that's a shell. Doesn't have to be perfectly preserved to be a shell. Other various forms of marine biology on this side. You ain't showing anything. Use your eyes. In fact, I'd wager this is a super tiny little shell, but no one wants to see the small stuff, apparently. There's more marine biology sticking out of this piece. Again, it's usually broken up in small pieces and other weird shapes, so it doesn't have a perfectly preserved shape anymore. Just use your eyes, you'll see it. And once you do, you can't unsee it. Wish I had my tripod, that'd be great. There's a little shell sticking out right here. Do you see it? Hope you can. There's a shell, what's left of it sticking out right there. Looks like these people knew what they were doing if they were harnessing piezoelectric properties out of these materials. Good choice of material for piezoelectric. Has about everything you need in it. Crystals, fossils, bones, calcium. And it's also kind of strange to think or assume it's a mystery as to why people would use this limestone for their infrastructure. That's kind of like saying the people that built those cathedrals and all those stone, other stone cathedrals and churches were somehow illiterate or unintelligent or something. But that's far from the case. Shouldn't even have to say it. I mean, just to go that far to discredit the use of this limestone is just absurd. That's basically discrediting all the cathedrals and basilicas and everything else out there, because they're made with stones too. So it's completely absurd to say only knuckle draggers would use this stone to build with, or to insinuate that anyways. It's very insulting to the people that built these places. Here we got a more fossiliferous piece of limestone. Ow, my wrist. You see all the little fragments of broken stuff in here. Further supporting the piezoelectric power system and grid. Because I've already proven inside of these shells there's crystals. Yeah. A damaged, blown out shell right there, but that's not good enough for anybody, so I'll just ignore that. Showed anyway because I know what I'm looking at. There's little bits of shell and stuff sticking out of here. I'm going to use my pant leg to do this. There's a little fossil sticking out right here. Broken pieces of stuff sticking out right there. Once you have the eyes to see it, you can't unsee it. Let's do something real quick. Now you got your crystal, more compacted crystal matrices and stuff in there. Just further supporting the piezoelectric power system that was used. Could have been used. We'll just leave it at that. That might have been a shell, but it's so far gone I can't verify it anymore. Here we got more of your crystals. It's hard to capture it, but there it is. There's your crystal for the piezoelectric support, to support that further. Bugger off, bug. Got a mosquito flying around. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get back looking for actual evidence. Except playing with rocks and stones. Almost looks like something died over here. See if there's any transitioning in here. Nope. But it's discolored, so something happened, right? Still a solid red brick, though. Oh well, I think I'm about done here, honestly. Kind of want to cover some of these other infrastructures real quick, call it a day and go home. Think I've proven my point enough here. There's that snail dude on here. Looks like a damaged, blown out shell there, but I'm not going to assume that's what that is. Oh! Oops. I accidentally hurt the snail. God, I feel terrible now. Oh man. Hate when I do that by accident. I feel terrible for that. I just killed that snail. I dropped that piece and just happened to land right where the snail was at, and it was too late to stop it. Man, that's gonna bug me. Anyways, let's go ahead and break this brick open. Just red brick. Let's just turn this piece real fast. I'm probably going to stop recording here. This video is going for way too long. More the crystal stuff in here. There's some writing on this one. Huh. Again, not all this stuff is equal. Doesn't mean it's not doesn't disprove anything I've said. I'd say it's a little shell right in there, but that's not enough to show. Mosquitoes are starting to come out. But yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and pause this, as I keep saying now. Go ahead and try to pause this and go cover up these other limestone structures real fast. If I can get this piece to prop up real quick, that'd be great. I'm going to try to get this separation here off. Oh, there's a big shell that fell out right there. Oh, it broke. It powderized to nothing. Actually, you know what? That might not have been. Nope, I lied. That was it looks like a drill mark. Or something, yeah. This looks like a drill mark. They were drilling into this piece. My apologies, that's a drill mark. I guess it was when this piece was quarried. Almost thought that was a shell that fell out of there. But now that makes sense. This is just drilling residue from the material. Okay, I should stop messing with it. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pause this and try to get to my next 2 locations and call it a day. Well, I was taking a quick look around the castle workhouse here, the KC workhouse. I made my way down this side of it. I guess I'm gonna go ahead and start recording now because I didn't know how much of this I would be able to see with all the paint and spray paint on it. But as I was walking around, I noticed something right here. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a big shell sticking out of the wall. I even went to go get the ladder to verify. And I already looked at it. It is a big shell sticking out of this limestone material. There's a big shell, nicely preserved right here. As you can see, it's in the matrix of the limestone, a big old nice shell. I might have to try getting this out. And there's more stuff right here. As you can see, there's your evidence. It's hard to find in a big, nice preserved piece like this, but here one is in the corner of the workhouse. There's this piece here with crystals in it. It's hard to capture that. But here we have the big preserved shell I was looking for. We all know what a shell looks like, don't we? All right. There that one is. So there's that shell. It's just hiding here on the corner. Let's go ahead and walk around this real quickly. This video is already taking way longer than I wanted it to. And I'm just gonna leave that janky ass ladder there. I'm not gonna carry it back in there. I was actually wanting to poke up along this wall like Ross did to see what's up there, but I'll probably do that later, or just not worry about it at all. Not much to see in here. Apologies for the train. Not trying to spend too much time on this. Just kind of want to document some of it for myself now that I'm here, and I haven't done that yet. Because every time I've come here, I've just kind of poked around and left. I still want to cover up some of the other. Limestone infrastructures around here. The one across the street from here and the old fire station, which Ross already covered those. If I notice any more big shells, I'll point them out, but there's so much paint on these, you can only really see up where you can't really see them. This part, those parts up there aren't painted. It seems like they just did it mostly on this lower part. Big entryway here. Try to get this real quick. Just another limestone and brick palace, mansion, whatever you want to call it, castle. Here it is. Yes, people are coming out here looking around as well. That's fine. Let's go ahead and cover this place a little better. All right. This is a pretty cool view. You get to see that turret tower over there. Of course, my lighting wants to just funny. Just go right there, we can see it. Awesome, or not. Okay, cool. Let's go on ahead and document some of this. Really just want to get the outside parts. Don't want to go back in here. It's really not too much to see, but I think I could go on ahead and at least get this part a little better. Because why not? But I do want to try making this fairly quick, so I apologize for rushing through this. All right. Sorry if I accidentally capture somebody in my video. There are several people walking around doing the same thing I'm doing. I do want to get this one over here. That looks more like it's got a limestone facade with brick under it. Well, there's not much to see here. There's just a bunch of trees and stuff covering this side. So I'm gonna go on ahead and pause this until I can get to the front. Apologies for the wind noise if it's there being picked up in the recording. I'm trying to just cover this architecture for myself now that I'm here. So I'm also adding to my collection of limestone evidence. Not some weird, crazy, cataclysmic fucking transmutated material. Because let's be honest, if this stuff was brick and it transmutated to such degree, this building would have collapsed. It would have never stayed standing. This is very intentionally designed this way. I'm gonna go back up here and get this one again. Looks like a piezoelectric palace to me. With all those fossils and crystals and other things in the matrix of the material used. I'm going to pause this again and get another position. And yes, everything down here has been painted. And everything up here is not. So I'm not going to waste my time going around trying to find fossils on this lower half, which is all I could see. So I'm just going to document it as such and move on to these other few locations and call it a day. Very intentionally built this way, people. Don't know why I had to keep saying this. I'm gonna go ahead and reposition and get closer up to this entranceway over here. This angle here. Apologies for the sirens. Good timing as usual. Look at those grand archways. Those are so cool. To have got those pieces that fit so nicely like that. Talk about real actual, you know, architectural genius there. To get all these stones to fit like this and stand the test of time like this. All right, let's go ahead and get close up into here. So since I'm pausing it, I'm already this close. Pretty breakneck in here though. Ignore that. John PP on the freaking wall there. Graffitied on there. Wish my camera would sensor would adjust the lighting there, that'd be great. There it goes. Not transition material. I shouldn't have to say this. Let's go ahead and pause this and get to another angle and call this one done with this infrastructure, architecture combination. Apologies for the train again. They seem to be pretty busy. And ignore that there graffiti. Try to capture this angle here. Start that over. So I'm gonna go ahead and call this one covered. Yet just another limestone and brick masterpiece. And now I'm gonna go and cover the ones across the street over here. So until I get over there,